I'm good with that. And then next week we'll come in and do Christmas week.
Yep.
And then take a week off.
Yep.
First of the year, I will add that dude on Instagram, that Dominic dude that wants us to watch The Boys.
Okay.
Thing. I will add that, and we'll make sure to hit that, just because I don't want to keep.
I completely forgot about that.
No, that's just what's going through my head. I want to get that in at some point, but it's not
Uh-huh.
imperative that we do it right away. I don't want to keep putting this kid off, because then he's gonna be like, wow, these kids are fucking dickheads. Like they.
Well, and when people ask me for that shit, sometimes I send them a message, bro. We have over 400 videos in our watch later list. We'll get to it.
We will put it on the list. It is a long list, and
very long list.
And even now, like there's so much stuff in this last 7 months that has come out that we still haven't hit. There's so much stuff that we haven't hit.
That shit that came out 3 years ago, we still haven't hit. Like
when we first started doing this, yeah. Great. So mics are running, and Cubase has not quit on us yet. So
perfect.
So we're still okay for now. Do you want me to get us in first, or do you want to tell a story?
Yeah. Let's get us in here.
307 Reacts. I'm Matt. Which is weird, because Monday it worked out great. I had a super loud, crispy snap. I'm Matt. That's Chris.
Yeah.
You guys are the best audience in the world. On the screen in front of us, I don't know. I think we have at least one Jordan Peterson, or do we not?
We have a couple.
Do we? We got some Jordan Peterson on our channel, so we're going to bring him back on the screen, because me and Chris both really like him. Now, I know there is some controversy about this man. People have their opinions about him. We're not here for that. We just like the things that he has to say. I think some of the things that he says
he's a very wise, educated man.
And the way he speaks and the way he presents his opinions are usually, I mean, they're based in fact, and they're educational yet understandable and relatable. And
the thing is like, you can even disagree with him, but the way he presents it, it's like, I understand why you would think that.
You might disagree with his philosophies, but that doesn't mean that what he's saying is combative, or like he's not out here to try and prove a point. He's just kind of trying to base everything in like relative knowledge and trying to make it like relatable to stuff. And I like that.
And that's not to say that I've ever come across anything I haven't agreed with. I would say I can't think of one, to be honest. But
Jordan Peterson is a Christian guy. I'm not a Christian guy.
Yeah.
Boom, bingo, right there. Yet I still listen to him. Yeah. Because I like some of the things that he says. Now, do I agree with all the stuff that he says about God and faith and all that stuff? No.
Well, I think the way that he has approached his religion, his Bible studies, as far as like publishing them, is and he's even told this. He's like, I want to analyze the Bible from a psychological point of view, and like he goes, I'm not assuming that any of the stories are true. I'm not assuming any of them are false. I'm reading what's there, and how does that apply to my practice of psychology? And does it actually line up? Like,
and when he's and even when he's not out here preaching. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, even when he's talking about his religious stuff, he's not trying to sell it to anybody. He's just saying that, like certain people who believe in God and have the trust and the following and this, that, and the other. He's not out here saying, well, if you don't believe in God, then I don't know why you're
going to hell.
You shouldn't be listening to me, because your life's not going anywhere. Like, he doesn't do that at all. He's just saying, if this is the path that you're following and this is what you want to do, then you have this, that, and the other, right? And that's what I like about him. He's not trying to sell anything. All right. Chris has a story really quick on the screen in front of us. 30-second clip from our boys in 10 for 10. Ready, go.
Hi, I'm Joe.
I'm John.
And we are 10 for 10. And we'd like to invite you to our live stream performance of the Battle of the Bands at Sunshine Studios Live, January 11th, 2025.
Saturday night.
You can get your ticket from the link provided, and it's a $5 ticket with a $5 handling fee. Hope to see you there.
All right, there's a clip from our boys in 10 for 10. If you want more information on that, basically what's going on, they're playing a show in Colorado Springs on January 11th. It is a Battle of the Bands. They're trying to get votes to play a Bratfest show later next year in Iowa. So we're going to be live streaming on January 11th in Colorado Springs. We're sponsoring a bunch of tickets for them. If you guys would also like to buy a ticket, you don't have to come to the show, but if you buy a ticket from the link that's in our description or from their Facebook, they have it right at the top of their Facebook, it goes towards a vote for them getting into Bratfest next year. So basically every ticket counts as a vote. So if you want to help out, that's totally fine. If you're not able to, not a big deal. Just come check out the live stream. We'll be live streaming on January 11th. Everybody's welcome. We'll be doing it from the phones, hanging out in Colorado. That's basically what's going on. You want more information, hit us up in the description. On the screen is Students Protest Free Speech. Watch what happends. And this is on Jordan Peterson's page, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So, now, story time. Go.
So, to completely derail from everything we've already set up.
Beautiful.
I come home from lunch, okay?
Okay.
And if you guys want to know what being a mechanic is like, let me explain it to you, okay? So, we have a new roommate that moved in, right? And he's home. He's, like, on the phone taking care of some insurance, whatever. Like, anyway.
Doing his thing.
So I'm in there, you know, throw a thing in the microwave, heating it up, and he gets off the phone. He goes, "Hey, how's it going?" It's going. How's work? It's work. He goes,
"I'm a mechanic."
He goes, "It's got to be cool, like working on cars all the time and stuff." He goes, "You know, like cars are kind of interesting. They're cool. Like there's a lot of moving pieces." And like, I was like, I just removed 3 dead mice from the glove box of a Mercedes. No. So
from the glove box, dude?
It was like right above the glove box. She goes, there was a horrible smell. Like, I think my cabin air filters need done. And I was like, on these Mercedes, if the little rubber strip around the fresh air intake's not on there right, you'll get water in there and it smells mildewy. It smells bad. So I'm like, she's got water in the filters. Take the filters out, put new filters in with charcoal filament in it, and then just spray it out. You're like, good to go.
Oh, no.
So,
I
pull off and sure enough, that rubber piece is
bad.
Not where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I fix that and I check it. Okay, well, there's nothing obvious on top of the filters. All right, whatever. But I can't pull them out that way. I have to pull the glove box out.
And get it from the inside,
And when I say pull the glove box out, like most vehicles, you open the glove box, you push the little tab, and it just falls down and you get it. No. It's part of an assembly, okay? So you have to like go in and remove 6 bolts on the bottom and then 6 bolts on the side.
You have to remove bolts?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's a big ordeal.
What?
So anyway, I get in there, I get the glove box dropped down, a huge nest just falls off the top of the glove box. I'm like,
what?
Okay. So I am vacuuming up this nest and find 3 or 4, 8, it's really hard to tell, just gooey messes of fur and bones that are just melted to the top of this. It's
the gooey.
So
the gooey.
Feckin' gross.
Oh my God, dude. That's
so feckin' gross, okay? I'm in there fucking
gross, dude.
Vacuum. Like, oh my God, okay? And he goes, "You guys have to do that?" And I go, "Who else is going to?"
She asked for a service, and this is part of the service that we're doing.
This is a mechanical service?
This is just what happened during the service. So, what am I supposed to do? Just leave their gooey mouse on the floorboard? All right, your car's ready to go.
Yeah.
She's going to get in, and she's going to lose her absolute
mind.
Shit.
He's like, so, like, they can't go and get it detailed? No.
Well, first of all, a detail shop is probably going to say no.
And they're not going to take apart your glove box.
Second of all, they're not going to do the glove box. And again, thirdly, this was the service that she's paid for. So if it just so happens that this thing happened because of the service that we're doing, we're taking care of that. Like, that's on us.
Well, I mean, it wasn't our fault the mice were in there. But
it wasn't your fault.
We're already
but
there doing the job.
You're doing the thing that requires that area where the thing fell out of. So it's like, well, I can't just leave that there. I have to clean that up. Question, really quick. Did these mice get into the wiring?
Did
she have Christmas trees on her dashboard? No? Nothing? That is wild.
I was surprised because I was like, did they get in through the fresh air intake? Well, no, there's no way because like it has like a little grate, right? Even if they fell through the grate, typically they'll eat their way through the filter.
Yeah, sure.
Filters are fucking I mean, they're dirty, but like they're not torn or anything like that.
That is wild. She got very lucky in that aspect, dude. Very lucky. Anyways.
So part of the job being a mechanic,
that's the life.
That's the life.
Sometimes we do. Look, nobody wants to be at their job, right? Well, okay. I guess that's an overstatement.
That's the part of today where I was like, I chose this job. I chose this.
I picked this job.
This was the life that I chose.
This job did not choose me. I chose this job. I said yes. There's a very small portion of people who are working most jobs who actually want to be there. There's a very small percentage of people. Most of us, for the most part, nobody wants.
We just paying bills.
We don't want to be there. Unfortunately, we're part of this thing called life, where life requires money to pay for bills, to have a roof over your head, and to eat food, and drive yourself back and forth to work, where you work on other people's cars. And it's just what we have to do. Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes you got to be the guy who's cleaning mice out of glove boxes. Sometimes you got to be the janitor who's wiping kids' poop off of the walls in the bathroom because they smeared it all over the bathroom. Why are you up?
Why are you up?
So, nobody wants to be here, but we appreciate people that do the dirty jobs, and go in every day. Yeah. And just do it, right? Sometimes you got to move 250-pound pantries into people's houses that are fully assembled, and they are very extremely heavy off the back of a truck, and you feel like your arms are going to fall off, but we do it because they're paying us, right? So, anyways, was that story time?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we're going to get into this now. What do you know about this? Have you watched any of this happen?
I've watched the first little bit where it looks like protesters come in. Now, I don't know if it's staged or not.
Oh, they come right into this thing. This is like a procession speech or something, or
it's I'd imagine. I'd imagine it's a university where Jordan was just asked to come and speak.
Okay. And so now this is not Jordan. It doesn't look like this is some other guy.
Yeah, he
maybe
must
introducing
be like
him or something like that.
Okay,
I got you. And then they're going to come in and protest, huh?
I suppose so.
Okay, well, let's get into this. This could be wild. Sorry for going off the rails there. If you guys, are still with us, throw a cloud emoji in the comments before we start this. We really appreciate
tip
it.
Your mechanic,
tip your mechanics. Tip your movers. If you got guys moving cabinets and furniture in for you, tip those guys because they're working really hard out there. Blue collar guys deserve a raise. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Like, comment, subscribe, please. We appreciate the hell out of you guys being here. Let's get right into it.
Our topic is the rising tide of compelled speech in Canada. I am going to take just a couple of minutes to give us some context and set it up, and then I'll ask Jordan to tell us what he thinks. You may have seen the CBC production of The Tudors, the story of King Henry VIII. In one episode, the king has condemned Thomas More to death for refusing to say that the king is the head of the Church of England. More is in his cell, awaiting execution. A friend comes to him to plead with him, to say what it is the king wants to hear. More says he cannot do that, for he does not believe it to be true. In exasperation, the friend says, "You don't have to believe it. You just have to say it." When your brain makes that kind of calculation, you know you are under the thumb of a tyrant. And Thomas More lost his head.
Wow.
The tide of compelled speech in Canada is rising.
Let me stop it early here. That is, and Jordan has talked about this in the past. He goes, a lot of people read about the Holocaust and want to think that, they're the ones who would have hit Anne Frank in their
house or their cellar or whatever the case.
Or they think they would have been the ones to stand up against the Nazis. And he says nobody reads it from the, hey, I might have been that guy to be like, listen, I don't have to believe it. I just have to say the thing, and I can continue to go to work, and my family's safe. I don't have to worry about anything. I just have to play along.
And I survive.
I would say that 90% of the population is probably that way. I mean, it takes a really... Man, if I was put in that situation, you don't have to believe it, just say it. I'm like, man, it's... All I have to do is say something, and I get to live my life. Like... That's tough.
Sometimes, and I've learned this in these classes that I've been going to. Sometimes you have to part of like accepting yourself and moving forward and progressing is allowing the unacceptable to exist, and that can be tough. It can be really tough to allow something that you don't find comfortable or something that challenges your beliefs or your rules or your values. It can be tough to let that thing just exist. But sometimes you just have to do that. And that's one of those cases where it's like you can survive. And like you said, you don't have to believe it. You just have to say it. And anybody who says, oh, I wouldn't have done that, I'd stand up for myself, I think those people are just stuck in the modern society. Like, we're in a modern world now. Things are way different than they were back then. I mean, you were completely powerless back then. And if the king wanted to chop your head off, he would just do it.
Yeah.
Because he could, and you didn't matter. So if it's going to keep you alive, and all you got to do is say this thing,
I mean, it's such a tempting thing because,
tough. It's tough, man.
Because you also want to be a person of, this is what I believe, and I'm going to stick to that.
Yep, you want to have your beliefs, for sure.
And once you break that, then what do you have? You know what I mean? It's
tough. It's definitely a tough decision to make, for sure.
Well, shouts out to that guy, man.
He stuck to his guns, man. Stuck to his guns and lost his head. What do you do?
Amazing. The Law Society of Ontario has introduced a new policy that requires each lawyer to develop a statement of principles which endorses and acknowledges an obligation to promote certain values. The Ontario Human Rights Commission says that under the Human Rights Code, failing to address somebody by their preferred pronoun will constitute discrimination for which you may be investigated and prosecuted.
Wow, okay.
The Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario has introduced new curriculum to require teachers to teach elementary students about white privilege. And the federal summer grants program requires applicants to attest to the values that the government believes in. They don't have to believe it.
It's a fucking lie!
But they...
There's no such thing as compelled speech! The government cannot tell you what to do!
Jordan's just back there smiling. What is she doing? Wait, what is he? What?
Whoa, careful now. Okay.
I just got canceled. Sorry, dude.
Here we go.
I literally just got canceled. What are they?
What are they? Assume their gender.
100%. That's my bad. Oops. What? So okay. So these people, these protesters, are saying that it's okay for these things to be happening. They're saying that like teachers should be exercising this teaching white privilege and being prosecuted for not using proper pronouns. Is that what I'm gathering out of this?
Here's the issue, okay? I think the way that they came out and did this makes it very unclear as to what they believe and why they're there. The only thing I got was there's no such thing as compelled speech. Okay, cool. Like, can you prove that to me? Like,
their sign says freedom to smash bigotry. Are they saying that people who don't use proper pronouns or whatever are the bigots? Is that?
Yeah.
Well,
here's the way that so you do have the right to protest, and that's why Jordan and this other guy just
let it happen.
Just
yeah, okay, yeah. As long as you're not threatening anybody,
do your thing. Like, but it's what service did it serve? Like it's nothing.
It's the whole thing with all these college campuses getting tied up in the international thing this over the summer, where I think it was the Gaza thing that was going on. With the Israelis and things like. I didn't follow it very closely.
Yeah.
All I know from what happened was there was a lot of college students that were bandwagoning on this thing, that were wasting tons of time going to these prestigious colleges where they should be working on their studies and not camping out on the campus on the front yard, like making all the teachers suspend their classes. Like, how many thousands of dollars a year are you paying to go to that college?
Yeah, that's the thing. You're wasting your money.
And that's the thing is like...
And maybe it's not yours. Maybe it's your parents. You're wasting your
whatever
parents'
the fact
money.
is, you're still wasting money that... you didn't spend all that money to go to a college to camp out on the front lawn to protest something. You went there so you could get a degree in this subject that you're trying to study. And I know there are probably ties between those two things in a lot of people's degrees that they're getting. However, the final isn't on camping out on the front lawn and carrying around signs and talking shit to the police when they show up. That's not... We're not...
So let me ask you this. Let's say... Okay, let's play devil's advocate here. Let's say that you disagreed with what Jordan was going to speak about on this event, okay? And you wanted to go and represent your case. How would you do that? Because I know how I would do it, but I'd be interested to hear from you.
I don't know. I need to hear more of what's going on, I think. I need to get a better
because
idea.
I think what I would do is if, they're doing a thing on compelled speech, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's actually happening. I would go knowing that, and you should, if you're going to protest something, do research beforehand, okay? But Jordan always offers a Q&A section.
Fair enough, yeah.
That would be the time to stand up and be like, listen, you said this and this, I disagree with it because of this. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And actually have, some back and forth that, like, everybody's paying attention. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what's going on. You can clearly state your point. He can clearly state his. That's what public forum and public discourse should be. Not this just coming out and yelling at some guy and then the whole crowd erupts and you don't know what's going on. Like, that's just mayhem. It doesn't serve anybody a purpose.
I don't want to... I'm not here to sell anything. So... It's tough for me to, like... So basically where I'm at on this is, like... I think that it's bullshit to be able to legally and lawfully prosecute someone for not wanting to use proper pronouns for somebody else. Yeah. However, on the other side of that, if you are someone that I am greeting, getting acquainted with, whatever the case may be, someone that I'm meeting, and you prefer me to call you by a certain thing, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I just think that I shouldn't get arrested for not calling somebody else that.
I shouldn't be legally required.
It shouldn't be like a governmental thing that, oops, I screwed up. Oh, now you're getting a ticket, or now there's this investigation and there's a possibility that you could do jail time, whatever the case may be. I think that's bullshit.
No.
But again, I'm respectful enough that, like, if you want me to call you a certain thing, I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. I might fuck it up every now and then because I come from some pretty traditional values.
Right.
So you got to excuse me.
Excuse me, ma'am. I mean, sir.
Exactly. What is she spraying at the crowd? Whoops. Right there. It's like, I don't know. Dude, I don't know. So that's where I'm at with it. That's it.
So here's another kind of question, and maybe he'll get into this. I don't know. I kind of doubt it, but
this is going to be a long episode.
It's going to be a long one. So typically schools, right, especially, most public schools are government funded, state and federally.
Sure. Yep.
So should the government be able to step in and say, this is what the curriculum is going to be? After all, it is their funded school.
Boy, here's another one where I'm like, man, again, I come from pretty traditional values.
Yeah.
I think we're wasting a whole lot of fucking time in schools worrying about shit like that when we should be teaching how credit card interest works and how to buy a house with a zero credit score and how car loans work and how, real world situations,
history and math and reading,
the things that matter in today's world. Like I think we should be spending way more time on budget and finance, because money is absolutely crazy right now.
Yeah.
And we're setting all these kids up to get out into the world, and it's kind of like, you don't really have to work, it's fine, you just kind of government, and then that's what you do, and then you get on TikTok, and then here you are. It's
here's a hot
wild
take. Okay, get ready.
We should just call this episode Hot Takes, because
if the government is funding the school that your children goes to, then technically that is a business, okay, because they do have to make some sort of profit, all right, to continue to run the school and pay the teachers and all that good stuff. If it is a government-funded school, the government has every right to say, hey, we're going to be teaching them about white privilege.
See?
If you don't want them to learn that, you take them to a private school
where
the private school has their own sets of and, maybe it's the same, maybe it's different. But, here's the deal. As the tax-paying citizen, I could also see the other side where you're like, listen, I pay taxes for my children to go to school. That's my money. I don't want this being taught. Now, there should be some sort of connection there between the taxpayer and the school, and they do have those meetings, but as far as the school's concerned, they don't give a shit about what you are saying at those, because they don't get money directly from you, they get it from the government.
Man.
So I think the government should stop funding schools. Leave it to the public. If the public wants to have a local school in their area that they locally pay a tax for, leave the federal government out of it. I think we would see so much better schools in our communities and cities and all that good stuff if the federal stayed out.
Same opinion on that with me is I think there are way, way bigger, more important things to focus on government-wise than
white privilege in schools.
Education, kindergarten education teachers or young student education teachers should be teaching white privilege. Why are we so focused on that when there are clearly way bigger things to be focusing on that affect a much wider, broader set of people? You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. I'm so glad I don't have to be in school or be a teacher right now. And I've said that before in hundreds of our videos. Like, I'm so glad I don't have to be a teacher. I'm so glad I don't have to be a cop in any political body or form or in that field at all, because it's got to be just
It's got to be a nightmare.
So stressful, dude. It's got to be the most stressful thing in the world. You pretty much go into all these meetings, like these parent-teacher meetings and conferences. You go into city council meetings or city hall meetings or whatever, and you're just going in getting ready to just get shit on. You're just going to get shit on the whole time. You're never going to make everyone happy. Someone's always going to be pissed. They're always going to be mad directly at you, even though you have nothing to do with it. You're just there fielding questions, and giving suggestions to the next guy up who hopefully takes some of them. I
think that we as a country need to take back our communities and kick the federal government out. Because I've seen, there's a guy on TikTok I follow, I forget his name, it's something King, but he has 2 schools. Well, I guess he has 3 or 4, but he has a boys' school and a girls' school. And at the boys' school, he teaches, math, history, science, whatever. But then he also does, this is how you change oil on a car. This is how you properly check a gun to make sure it's loaded or unloaded. This is how you safely handle a firearm. This is how you act in a traffic stop. This is and the thing is he takes donations from his local community to run this school. And he has meetings every month. Hey, if your kid comes to school, come on by. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you have any questions, concerns, I'll be here. I'm directly going to work with you, the parents, to give your child what they need to survive.
Stuff like that. We should be teaching kids how to prepare for a job interview, how to properly fill out a resume. We should be teaching kids so many more important things than make sure you call this guy by his pronouns or this person by their pronouns. Here we go again.
Here we go.
Otherwise, you could be prosecuted. Horrible. What? Are you kidding me? There's just so many. It's just.
But the point is behind his community driven school has brought his community closer together.
Weird.
And And he's like,
community helps each other out, and all of a sudden it gets stronger.
We have Republicans, we have Democrats, we have independents, we have everybody from all walks of life that come to the school and send their kids here. And he goes, you know what the crazy thing is? They all agree. Their children are learning how to read. They're learning how to write. They're doing the things. And, you know, a lot of these parents go, man, I wish school was like this for me.
What's Adam Calhoun's neighbor, Mike?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Mike.
Fuck you, Mike.
But he said in videos, too, he's like, Mike is like one of the most level-headed dudes I know. The only reason why we don't get along is because technically he's a Democrat and I'm not. But, like, he's one of the most level-headed people when it comes to talking politics.
It was the other way.
Was it the other way?
Mike, he's like, yeah, Mike's a big Trump guy. I'm a big Trump guy, you know. And we don't get along. He goes, this other hippie walking down the street, me and him had hit it off, be like best friends, and he's voting for Joe Biden.
There it is, yeah. He's like, yeah, fuck you, Mike. Yeah, that kind of thing. Weird. Your community helps each other out, and all of a sudden you get community growth, and it's stronger, and it's more connected.
The healthcare industry used to be pretty decent until the federal stepped in. Like, as far as I'm concerned, federal should just worry about our military, defending our borders, defending us from terrorist attack from wherever. And then, you know, like FBI and stuff, we have people committing crimes inside of our cities and stuff. Like, it's when they start reaching into healthcare and our schools and our, you know, libraries, they have control of all of that.
We could legalize weed and fix the deficit and fix a bunch of roads and get better education, like I don't know, Colorado did. But no, let's not worry about that. Let's keep it federally illegal. And
I would say Washington, but they haven't fixed any fucking
roads. They haven't. No, that's why I referenced Colorado. But no, let's keep it a fucking Schedule I narcotic.
Yeah.
For some goddamn reason.
So
let's keep going, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know, man. I give up.
They spray and fart spray.
Yeah, I think so.
No, that's pure narcissism at work, by the way.
It really is. He's got a good point.
You know, to hijack an event like this that other people put time and effort into, and to use their civility of the crowd and the civility of the organizers as an excuse to blatantly yell out your ill-informed opinions is no way to conduct a civil dialogue. It's absolutely appalling. The people who do that should be embarrassed.
As Christmas approaches, there's a beautiful opportunity to keep God at the center of the season through Halloween, the number one prayer app. Okay. They're launching a special Advent prayer challenge called For God's Credible, Severe Ravens for Divine, Wednesday week's Hallow for the Good.
Yes,
go to Hallow if you're interested in this, okay? It's probably in their description or something like that.
If you're interested in paying for praying stuff,
or just go to church on Sunday if that's really what you want to do.
I grew up Christian. You can just do this right now.
Anytime. Anyway, anytime. It's totally free. You don't have to. But whatever. If it supports the foundation or whatever the case may be, whatever.
That's so weird to me. But
that's
anyway,
a weird advert.
Yeah. Wait for the Q&A section. That is a civil way to bring.
That's why that's why these things are set up.
Yeah.
That's literally why they set them up, so you can voice your opinion after the two presenters give their speeches.
Exactly.
Then you can go up and ask questions and get fielded answers.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
And you know what? You might change more minds in the room doing it that way.
People are definitely more bound to listen.
Yeah.
Than to just some random psychopath who's
just
screaming over the balcony.
And then guess what? Everybody else shouts back at you.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're just hearing boo because nobody needed that in their lives. Killed it, guys. Way to go.
.com/Jordan for 3 months free.
Yes, I would also say that as students and as faculty members, you shouldn't put up with it. There's no way that you should allow people who are doing this to hijack your educational opportunities and to bend and twist the functions and the structures of the university. It's not a good thing, not in any way at all. I would say that was a very disgraceful display, fundamentally. So
let's stick with it. Why do you think people are afraid of free speech?
Well, people develop an ideological view of the world because they don't want to think through things in real detail, and they're aided and abetted in that endeavor by their pathological professors who are feeding them, what would I say, an oversimplified radical view of the world that, in my estimation, is fundamentally based in resentment Not that there's no reason for, say, a left-wing view of the world, and we can get to that later. It's easy virtue. You know, you can stand up in front of 900 people with your placard and you're screeching, and you can declaim to the entire audience your fundamental moral superiority. You can tell everyone at once that they're all beneath you and you're standing for the right thing, and absolutely none of that is earned. You know, like what the hell was that? No, seriously, man. It's just complete misbehavior. It's embarrassing, and the fact that the people who do that don't have enough sense to go hide their head in shame just tells you how badly socialized they are and how terribly educated they are. And the thing that's so awful is that there are professors and educators who promote that. They say, well, that's how you change the world. It's like, it is how you change the world, but it's certainly not how you make it better. You make it worse. Clearly.
Yo, yeah.
You know, there's no comfort in that, and there's nothing about it that's impressive. It's no better in some sense than a 2-year-old having a tantrum on the floor.
It really is.
As far as I'm concerned, it approximates the same level of psychosocial development. So, and the fact that this is happening continually at universities.
Jordan just goes in, dude.
The way he is just educationally shunting these people.
Just ripping up the shreds.
Just putting them right through a paper shredder. But it's just so elegant the whole time. Yeah. It makes the cuts so much deeper that he doesn't have to use a single swear word. He talks down to him like a parent talking to their child, like, what was that? Okay.
He's just going to throw a tantrum like a 2-year-old?
We're going to teach you a valuable lesson right now, and we're going to do it the proper way. I'm not going to yell at you, but I am going to make you feel horrible about what you just did. And then you're going to come out on the other side hopefully a little bit better and have a better understanding of what to do next time right way. Dude, he is just... The only word I can use is shunting. He's just
what
destroying.
What do they call that when like rappers beef, right? They'll have a... He just dropped like the hottest diss track.
Oh, he's dropping disses for sure. Educational, informal disses, which are like the deepest cuts, man. The way, it's so eloquent, it's so good. All right.
Psychosocial development. So, and the fact that this is happening continually at universities it truly makes me embarrassed to be associated with the university. And I say that with great displeasure because, you know, I've been working for great universities for a very long time, and the university is an absolutely remarkable institution. You know, it's survived for 1,000 years, and to see it brought down by people whose behavior would be out of place at a 4-year-old's birthday party is something abysmal to behold.
So what about the actions of government now? Because it is government, after all, that is the source of this compelled speech, as well as other ways in which they seek to restrict speech. But the compelled speech is the most egregious form of violation of freedom of expression. So tell us about that.
Well, I've been trying to sort this out.
Before he gets into this, I really like what he said. He said compelled speech is the most egregious. It's one thing to say, hey, you can't say that, right? Like, if you're a teacher, I think it's completely reasonable for your supervisors to ask you, hey, maybe you shouldn't cuss in front of your second graders. You know, like,
probably not a terrible idea.
Like, yeah. I'm not telling you how to talk. I'm just telling you maybe don't use these words, okay? I could understand that. That's situationally, you know, that makes sense. But then to turn around and go, you will say this, whether you believe it or not, is a whole different deal.
And I guess I'm unfamiliar. I didn't realize that there was this new term, compelled speech. I didn't know that was like a thing. I didn't realize that's what we were getting into. Was like, basically what you're saying is like I understand now. Like, we're taking away your freedom of speech. Students protest free speech. Basically, we're taking away the fact that, like, you're not allowed to just, like you were saying, assume this person's gender or identity or whatever the case may be. You have to do it this certain way. Yeah. Otherwise, you can get in trouble for that. And it's like, what? I'm not even saying bad words.
Yeah.
It's not hate speech. I'm literally just being a person, like just being a human, interacting with other humans, but somehow that can lead to prosecution, investigation at the very least. And like,
I mean, you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. Okay, I believe that's a reasonable law,
that
right?
Seems
People can
fair.
get trampled and but to say, hey, if you go to watch a movie, whether you think it sucked or not, on your way out, you will tell the staff that it was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, excuse me?
It's fuck you, first off. It's a whole nother step.
It's so crazy. I didn't even realize we were at that. I guess not technically in the United States.
We're not far.
But I guess Canada's legitimately going through it right now.
Yeah, and now this is an older video. This compelled speech, this what is it, Bill C69, I believe it was. This has been an ongoing thing for 3 or 4 years in Canada now.
Wow.
So
I had no idea.
Any of our Canadian followers, let us know how that's going.
I gotta check. I just gotta check really quick. I'm pretty sure I got them. Okay. I just wanted to check. You're good. Grizzly. I think Grizzly Power. For sure. You're up there in Canada. How are things, man?
Let us know if that actually passed or not, because I heard it maybe was or it wasn't, and maybe it did. I have no idea.
Crazy, dude. I don't follow news very tightly or closely, because I think a lot of it is just made up stuff that it's just a ploy to get people angry at each other. But I didn't realize we were at this juncture where it's you are required to talk this way, otherwise you're gonna get in trouble. And again,
it's insane.
Again, in moderation with everything, right? Understandably, there are some things that you probably shouldn't say that.
Hey, if you're in court before a judge,
probably shouldn't say certain things, right? That makes sense. Duh, that's just reasonable. Be professional. Present yourself accordingly.
But it is not illegal to cuss the judge out in court. It's not illegal.
That judge is allowed to hold you in contempt.
Frowned upon. Okay,
it is the judge's courtroom. It's his quarters after all, and he is allowed to make a judgment based on your actions.
Yeah.
However, it is not technically illegal to use, as long as you're not directing it at him, or her, at them. This is horrible. This is horrible for me, dude. Anyways, should we just keep going?
This
is tough, dude.
What he said, and if you guys know this dude's name, that was very profound. We are taking a step further by saying you will say this.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it.
To restrict speech, but the compelled speech is the most egregious form of violation of freedom of expression. So tell us about that.
Well, I've been trying to sort this out, because if you're a clinician, I would say one of the problems you always have when you're dealing with behavior that's gone astray is to understand at what level of analysis you should address it. Is it a theological problem? Is it a philosophical problem? Is it a psychological problem? Is it social? Is it economic? These are very complicated questions. Is it a trivial issue? Is it an issue of rights? Is it something else? The people who put in Bill C-16, for example, and its associated legislation, make the claim that it's a legislative movement that's facilitated by nothing but compassion and desire to expand the domain of let's say, of rights and freedoms. And there's nothing wrong in principle with expanding the domain of rights and freedoms, except, of course, for every right and for every freedom, there's an attendant responsibility and obligation. So you have to keep that in mind. When I looked at Bill C-16 and the legislation that surrounded it, especially that was written by the Ontario Human Rights Commission, the policies that surrounded it, and also the policies that gave rise to the social justice tribunals, named social justice tribunals, appallingly enough, that gave rise to those tribunals in Ontario, the things I read just made my hair stand on end. The social justice tribunals have the right to place themselves outside of outside of jurisprudential precedents. It's like, What the hell is that? It's really, you're going to make the case. The only way I think that you could justify doing that is that if you tortured yourself into the ideological proposition that English common law is somehow an oppressive branch of the patriarchy, and because of that you have every right and even obligation to place yourself outside of its structure of precedent. But we don't want to place ourselves outside of the structure of precedent of English common law, I can tell you that. It's one of the supreme achievements of the human race. It's produced societies that are as free and as productive as any societies have ever been anywhere on the planet, and certainly are now. And to dare to state that you would place yourself outside of that precedent, that's the sort of thing that made my hair stand on end. And there are other elements of the policies that were equally reprehensible, not least their complete incoherence of formulation. I couldn't understand some of it. Like, I don't understand, for example, with regards to the gender propositions, how it can be that you can be anywhere on the gender spectrum, which, by the way, is not a spectrum technically, and it actually matters which words you use if you're writing law. You can be anywhere or nowhere on that spectrum. Like, I don't know what that means, and I don't believe that the people who wrote it know what it means either. And you don't write things that you don't understand into the damn law. You don't do that because the law unfolds in society, and it tangles people up as it unfolds. And it's no joke when that happens. So you be very, very careful when you're writing law. And you certainly don't want to write law to push forward your ideological commitments, especially in the face of precedent, because precedent is what keeps law from degenerating into ideology, essentially. And so,
wow.
To answer your question, more fundamentally, I don't believe that this argument has ever been about the rights of transgender people. I think that it's an attempt by the radical left ideologues to push their ideological agenda forward using attempts to manipulate the linguistic domain. And I'm not willing to cede the linguistic domain because I don't think there are anything more important than the words that you use. And then when the government says, well, you should start using these words, you should start thinking hard about your damn government, because your words are no different than your thoughts. And your thoughts orient you in the world. And if someone's going to tell you what it is that you have to think, then they're going to disorient you in the world. And I wouldn't recommend that, because there's lots of terrible things that can happen to you. And if you're disoriented, you're going to run into a very large number of them. So that's how it looks to me.
Wow.
I've been disoriented 4 times in this room during this reaction, and you've seen it.
Just trying to use some compelled speech.
Just trying to be quote unquote polite to these protesters, and maybe a judge here or there. And it's like I'm already entrapped in this. I love that when he says when someone tells you how to think. You then become disoriented with the world. Yeah. Because the way that you think orients you with your place in the world.
Yeah.
And the way that you think makes you different and unique from every other person around you. It's what makes us human.
It's what makes you a sovereign entity. It's a sovereign citizen. Like,
it's literally what keeps us from being robots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's what keeps us from automation and I'm not saying all automation's a bad thing. There's some automation that's incredible. Automation in music production and in effects for guitars and stuff.
Sounds
awesome.
Great.
So, great. Automation in human beings
doesn't work.
You're just, man. You're one step closer to taking away freedoms from everybody.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what this whole thing is about. Protesting free speech, and that's what they're talking about right now, which is essentially what the Canadian government is trying to do, is protest free speech. But they're calling it, what do they call it? Compelled speech? They're calling it compelled speech.
The government is, and he kind of brought this up, they're wrapping it in the charade of, well, we're trying to further
expand
the rights and freedoms of people who
transgenders
and disenfranchised and whatever. Okay,
and what a convoluted way to put it.
I think he had a really good point. He says, that the law, when you read it, now this is one of the reasons I moved away from Spokane, Washington. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons. Is they passed a new gun law, right? And this new gun law, basically every gun that I owned made me a felon at this point, okay? Because it was like no more than 10 rounds. Shotguns can't have pistol grips. I'm like, okay.
Great.
Here I am sitting with an AR-12. Like, yeah, it's fine. So, like, when you... And I read the bill, and I read it very carefully because I was like, what is in this? And for Washington, they put this as this is to try to help stop school shootings, and so everybody, we don't want no school shootings, we better pass it, right? Here's the thing, there was no grandfather right. Like, if you've already owned these weapons, then you're allowed to keep them. You just can't purchase any more of them, right? That's what a lot of states do when they change gun laws. So if you're grandfathered in, you're grandfathered in.
Okay.
There was no grandfather law.
Oh.
They couldn't define what, like, okay, no assault weapons. A butter knife is an assault weapon if you attack somebody with it. I mean,
with enough speed and enough heat, okay? I mean,
anything's possible. And Jordan brought that up. Like, when you're writing law, you have to be, number one, very specific, and number two, make sure your definitions are, like, on point. Like, this whole the gender spectrum thing, right? You can be on or off the. He's like what? How the hell do you even define that? Because
you can be anywhere on the spectrum, or you can be nowhere on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Hold up.
You can't. Here's the thing: when it comes to
that, in the quantum physics world, that place doesn't exist. You're telling I can be anywhere and nowhere. That doesn't.
Now here's the thing: when it comes to mathematics, sure, there's an infinite amount of numbers, and depending on what you're trying to solve for, it can be within that spectrum or not. But guess what? Gender's not that way. I'm sorry to break it to you.
We're not robots.
Now, if you want to live your life as whatever, by all means do that. I'm not offended by it. But if you're going to write into law, well, number one, you need to define what constitutes the spectrum. And number two, what it looks like if you're on or if you're off. Because they can't just leave this open-ended. Like, how do you prosecute somebody because somebody felt a certain way? Like that.
My question. So this law in Washington that they passed, where you're not allowed to have these guns, but there's no grandfather law.
There's no grandfather law.
So then what? What if you have them? They come in and take them from you? So is this the first step of the government coming in and trying to take your weapons from you?
So according to that law, you had 30 days to turn them in to an FFL dealer.
So the government's taking your guns?
Yeah. Well, not the government. The FFL dealer has to take them and destroy them. Okay, that's the way they put that.
Destroy them. The government's like, wait, don't destroy those. We'll take those. Like,
oh no. The government cannot accept the guns. That's how they got around that loophole. So the government didn't take them. Okay, they just said they're not legal anymore. And an FFL dealer, like our FFL dealer here, is Sportsman's Warehouse. And what if I order a gun from another state, they send it to Sportsman's and
follow-up question. And what if you're one of these people who has these weapons and you decide
I'm not going to?
I'm just not going to do that.
Don't get caught.
And that's I guess it's one of those things. It's only illegal if you get caught.
Because that's exactly what I did.
Here's
the thing. I did the math. If something happened and they came into my house after this bill was passed, I would be spending close to 40 years in jail and have a $2 million fine. And I only owned 5 guns at the time.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Assault weapon was very loosely defined. Okay. A weapon of war is how they defined assault weapon. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the 30-06 was a war weapon for a really long time.
Yeah.
So was a pocket knife. So is a bow and arrow.
A 22.
A sword was like an assault weapon for a while. Like, I mean, if you're going to write something into law, you have to be very specific. Otherwise, like he said, people get tangled up in it when it unfolds. And you got people who just like were good people, didn't mean any harm. You know, they weren't out doing school shootings or anything. They just had a rifle that they like to go hunt birds with, but because it had a pistol grip, now they're in prison and have a $200,000 fine.
Dude,
It's so scary when you have people writing bills for stuff that they know nothing about.
And that's what Jordan said too. He touched on that. If you're going to write something into law, you better damn well know how you're going to write it properly, and know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because, like he said, it unfolds in society and tangles everybody else up in it as it unfolds.
Yeah.
And then that's how you get all these problems dealing with these. Jordan said it in a better way, but
hey,
dude, I don't know what's going on. Like,
it's a crazy world,
dude. What a crazy time to be alive. And again, I'm in a position. I consider myself decently fortunate. I'm single. I don't have any kids. I live by myself. I make all my bills. I don't have any crazy affiliations with anything government related or anything that would get me.
We live in probably one of the freest states in the U.S.
Legitimately. Like I'm very fortunate to live in a place where my car doesn't get checked every year to pass emissions because we have, our population is so small here that like we don't have enough air pollution to have to do smog tests or anything like that. I'm allowed to take a handgun and literally just carry it around and just have it on me at any given moment. I can
hidden
bring it.
Or not hidden.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
License, no license, doesn't matter.
And then to think that there are these states or countries, in this case, out there who are going through these weird, super minuscule.
Oh, you know what? I think they did pass that compelled speech because they also threw in a handgun law at the same time. No handguns. Period.
You can't have a handgun in Canada?
No, not anymore. Grizzly told me that.
What?
Yep.
What? Man,
it's guys. The world is crazy, and a lot of people want to take it to, oh well, when's the revolution starting? When are we all going to march on the Capitol? And it's like it doesn't start there. We need to.
It starts in your local governments,
in our communities.
Yeah.
Like
it starts on a local level.
We're going to quit sending our kids to the school that's federally funded, and we're going to start a school with our neighborhood. So-and-so Miss Fran, her husband's a banker, and she knows a bit about finance. She's going to teach a finance class every Tuesday.
Yep.
And, Miss Baker, she's going to teach another class on something, whatever. And Mr. So-and-so,
Mr. So-and-so, who's been an electrician for 35 years. He's going to teach kids how to fix broken shit. Yeah. So when it breaks, you don't just throw it away and get a new one. You just fix it. You buy this little set of tools, screwdrivers, this, that, and the other, and you can just fix things, Like
it starts with our local community. And, like, everybody, and I get it, the presidential election comes around, and we're like, who's going to be the president of the country? And we're all, like, fighting each other over it. Like, I get it. That's exciting. He's the guy that represents us to the rest of the world, okay? Like, that's kind of important to make sure that we're represented properly.
Right.
But at the same time, all these local elections just go to whoever happens to have the most friends in town.
Yeah, you're right.
And a lot of our cities just go to shit.
These guys that have been in this position for however many years, and they run every 2 to 4 years unopposed, and they just get the vote because no one else is doing anything about it. And then we come around every 2 years and we bitch and piss and moan about these things that aren't changing. And it's like, well, the one guy that's been in that position for 25 years and has run unopposed, he got in again because guess what? No one wants to go up against this guy because they're all afraid. Oh, well, he's got the majority vote, so he's just going to get it anyways.
And it's not that nobody gives a shit. It's that the few people who do give a shit and go and vote. Maybe he does have opposition and they vote for that, but a majority of our people don't go to their local elections.
Right.
They don't know who's running.
Important.
I guarantee you if you looked at now I'm guilty of this, okay? This is something I need to get better at. But you go and look at a local election ballot, I wouldn't know who half the fucking people are on this thing. I don't know what they stand for. I don't know like why they're running, what office they're running for. I mean, nothing.
This year was the only year that I looked at the local election ballot and I knew any of the names on there for two reasons. One, my best friend is a city councilman. Yeah. So I get information from him based on who's in, who's out, who's doing this, that, and the other. Yeah. So I know a handful of names, not all of them. I know a handful of names just from talking with him. The other reason is because I dealt with some court shit this year. So I know some of the names in the legal system. And that is this is the only year since I've been able to vote that I actually looked at the ballot and went, oh, I know this name. Oh, I know this name. Oh, okay, I heard Kyle was talking about this guy or, this, that, and the other. And so I was able to make some very, very, very loosely informed decisions based on that. But at the end of the day, I'm still looking at this thing like, half these people on here, I'm like, I've never heard of this guy before.
And here's the thing. Our local news stations, they don't do us any favors. They're all covering national shit anyway.
National shit. They cover the big headlines.
You don't ever hear anything in the radio about so and so is running for this.
When it is local stuff, it's like oh, the mayor showed up for a Christmas tree lighting. It's
like, who the fuck is our mayor now? Oh yeah, our last mayor. Yeah. Okay, got ran out of town because he beat his wife Which, by the way, I used to work on his car. Dude,
welcome to
Wyoming. Did I tell you his wife came in after she... Dude, she was fucked up.
Oh, my God,
her face,
dude.
Anyway.
God, okay. It's not...
Your local communities. It's important.
Starts at a local level, okay? That's where you make change. This was... I like Jordan's stuff, man.
I do, too.
And this was a good one. This was a really good one.
It was really good.
Where it's like... the way he just so eloquently was like, man, that was a... He was like, that's narcissism at its finest right there. Yeah, some dude coming in and just bombarding this whole thing, just shouting nonsense. Like he said, a very loosely informed decision from the rafters of a place to try and gain some attention for something you know very little about. Like, how childish. What a waste of energy and time and effort. And then to come out, let's be honest, to come out in the crowd and spray and shit at people. Who the fuck are you, dude? Are you serious right now? That's how you want people to respect you? Is you're going to spray whatever the fuck you were spraying at them? Like,
somebody sprays that shit on me, guess what? I'm going to the hospital, and I'm suing them for my hospital bill. Because, I don't know, they maybe poisoned me. What
happened?
Know.
I just got sprayed with some random chemical that came out of a little black jar. I have no idea what that was. It was sort of witchcraft.
And I'm going to need therapy because I'm afraid of crowds now. Oh, boy,
I feel terrorized. You know how much therapists cost nowadays, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, we're going down that rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they don't have to pay for your medical bills in Canada because they have universal health care, so you get away with that.
Boy.
But you might be waiting. You might be dead by the time you get in to see a doctor. You know what I mean?
I'm going to need therapy.
Yeah, you're going to need therapy. Okay. So, jeez.
Yeah, it's a crazy world, guys. Be vigilant. Stay safe. Okay.
Protect yourselves. Make sure you're
attention.
Paying attention out there for sure, and pay attention to the right stuff. There are some things that they just don't need attention.
Yeah.
You know, like there are some people and some things that just don't need attention, and they're going to scream at your face and act like they're doing something important, and they're just not. There's a lot of that.
There's something kind of important that somebody had told me, and I forget who it was.
It was me.
But old wise Matthew once told me. If somebody's asking you to fight for today, maybe it's serious. But if they're asking you to fight for 20 years in the future, that's something you should really take a look at. It's one of those things, this whole compelled speech thing is a fight for today. They want gratification today. They want to take control of your speech today. They want to change. They want people to feel a certain way today. It's like, listen, how about if they want to freely identify as however they identify, let them do that. And you know what? In 20 years, it'll sort itself out. Like,
when I was a kid, I identified as like a transformer for a long time, like
wanted
the
to be a
little
garbage
robots
truck.
in disguise. You know what I mean? Like I thought I was a Power Ranger for the longest time as a kid. Like, and I was pretty strict about that. Me and my friends would we were certain colors of the Power Rangers, right?
Bumblebee.
Like, okay? Legitimately, like that is me. When you see me on the street, this is what you call me. And then I grew up and was like, that was silly. That was silly of me, and you know, you get a better view of the world. I don't know. Keep an eye on your kids, man. Yeah. Just be careful out there. Stay vigilant, and just just believe in what you want to believe in. Just try not to force anything on anybody, because it's at the end of the day.
And you know, like we said, we don't have any kids, but I'll tell you this: if you are a parent, make sure to spend time, and just there's lots of things that I learned from my dad that he wasn't trying to teach me, like. I learned how to drive a stick shift just by watching him.
Sure.
Because we would go out and, just drive in the country. We'd go shoot prairie dogs, and I would just watch how he would drive this truck.
I did the same. I never had a direct lesson.
Yeah.
It was always just...
you put the clutch in, and then you do
you do
my
the
dad
thing with
never
your feet.
did that. I just watched it happen. So spending time with your kids is very important. I understand it's hard. Like, I don't have kids. I don't have time for myself hardly most days. So I definitely know it's difficult, but spending time with them and going out and doing something, even if it's something that, The economy's rough. Okay, I get it. You can't take them out for ice cream, all right? But maybe just, you
can go for a walk.
Just going for a drive. Go for a walk.
Going for a walk is super valuable.
Parks are free.
And especially if you have animals as well. Like, take your kids and your animals out and just walk with them. Your dog will appreciate it more than you ever know. Right. You might see some attitude changes in your animals. If you've got an animal that's got a problem and all of a sudden you start taking it on regular walks with your kid, all of a sudden your animal starts shaping up. And it's like, hey, this is actually an improvement.
Now, if the kids, I can't guarantee they'll do the same thing.
They're kids, okay? They're kids. But they're still going to appreciate the time that you spent with them, making those kind of memories rather than just shoving a screen in their face and being like, here's Facebook.
And that's here's
TikTok.
Part of the 20-year fight. Mm-hmm. That kid will never appreciate what that walk to the park meant that day.
Yep.
But they will 20 years from now.
Yep.
So
100%.
If you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as we did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, click the bell, become part of the notification gang. And just let us know what's going on in your communities. Yeah. If you're from Canada, let us know how bad it's getting. I know it's a little rough up there. So, anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Ow.
Boy, we should have known. That was going to just be a doozy. But I knew it was going to be like a pretty involved episode. And then once I started getting my brain around it, I was like, wait a second.
This is fucking wild.
Like, wait a second. This is a thing going on right now? Like, it's gotten to that point. Yeah. Like, I understand the I want to identify as this, I'll do that. And like I said in the thing, it's like, that's fine. If you want me to call you sir, ma'am, Mr. Mountain Dew, whatever you want to, I don't care. You want me to call you Thumb Drive? I'll call you Thumb Drive, dude. Like, that's fine. I don't care. But don't make me, don't make it a thing where it's like, you have to call me this or else
I'm calling the
cops on you. And it's like,
what a Karen.
And not only am I calling the cops, there's a good chance you're getting prosecuted for it. Like, what?
That's crazy.